Okay, so this is my web app project. It's called Typhoon, and it's basically a test in which you can take to measure how fast you can type. And so the team, it was just me. Um, I did originally have a teammate, but I think in the end I just ended up doing it by myself, which is completely fine. Doesn't really matter that much. And my motivation for the project is I've always felt like I've really liked seeing how fast I can type. I've always thought it was kind of fun. In most situations, I kind of feel like if you can increase how fast you can type, um, you can become a better software engineer in the sense that basically the more efficiently you can turn your thoughts or your ideas into code, the better. So I thought it might be kind of a cool skill to work on or a cool skill to have. And one big motivation for the project is there exists a few typing tests online already, but I don't feel like any of them really track your performance. Well, I've used a lot of them. Most of them don't track your performance or really allow you to see your high scores. It's more of a you take the test once and then you get your result, and you just kind of have to remember it or just see what you got. And so, what really distinguishes my app from others is on Typhoon, you can look at other people's scores to see how other people are scoring compared to you. You can track your performance. So over time, the app will obviously save whichever test you want to save. So when you take a test, you don't have to save your results if you don't want to. You can set new records. So like, there's a leaderboard, so you can set new records for yourself on how fast you typed, or you can set new records globally. Like, let's say you got one of the higher scores, or you're in the top 100 users who are using the site. And a cool attribute of Typhoon is that you can stylize your typing test to the text that you can relate to. And that might sound a little weird right now, but I think during the demo it'll be easier to understand. Basically, users can set their text that they're typing or that they have to type to like a media category, like one of their favorite movies or one of their favorite artists or something like that. And you can view global scores. So you can view all scores that have been scored on Typhoon by all users and see which ones are the top ones. And key scenarios. So obviously a user is going to have to be able to sign up, create an account, and link their email with their account basically. Another key scenario is users can obviously take a typing test on the website that measures how fast they can type and how accurately they type a given sentence. And this is another situation. Oftentimes, typing websites will tell you how fast you type, but they won't tell you how accurately you've typed. And users can obviously should be able to save their scores and refer to them at really any time. And users can also see a list of other people's top scores and they can see a list of their own top scores and see how they have improved over time. So really, Typhoon is based on trying to improve your own typing abilities. And the features I use to support these scenarios is obviously all users can log in and create an account, and for this I use Devise. And all users can just click on the test button and start a new test with customized text. And all users can view their own scores on the leaderboard page, and all users can view the top scores on the global leaderboard page. It's all really simple and straightforward. So implementation details. To accomplish the login, I use Devise to just simplify the process, because really it's just you install one gem and you have basically everything you need to get a user login system set up. And it really takes care of everything as far as password hashing and creating a table or creating different entries in your table for like password resets and all that sort of stuff. And so the main test page, actually taking the test, is all done on front end stuff, so it's JavaScript really. And So basically, like when you're taking the test, you're really interacting with a little JavaScript function that's running in the background that starts a timer, gives you or serves you your random sentence from the media category you selected, or default one if you didn't select any. And then after that, you can type, and then it just measures how fast it took you to finish that sentence. So styling was done mostly with Bootstrap. There was some custom styling, and I also used sites like Bootsnip for sort of designs. There were some designs that I saw on Bootsnip, like little tiny like profile pages or something like that, that I used as like a template. But that really helped a lot with styling because I don't know, that can be one of the more challenging parts of the project from my point of view. And so there are some animations that I did on the site, and that was done also with JavaScript. And they're really not that detailed, but I think they do add some nice sort of I don't know. They sort of add a nice look to the website that I think makes it more usable and will make users want to use it more. And really, the database behind it is really simple. And besides the users tables, there's a user scores tables that just keeps track of the scores that were saved and which user saved them and their accuracy, how fast they typed, and then from those two attributes, I calculate how many points they earned for that given test. And so now I'll show you a demo. Okay, so here's the demo, and as you can see, it is a Heroku app. So here's the main login. Here's a profile button, the test button, the leaderboard button, and that's my main logo with a little GIF image of just a blinking cursor just for fun. And as you can see, you can't really click on any of these till you log in. So I'll go ahead and show you a sign up. I'll just start from scratch. So I'll have a, I don't know, example. Oh, I already typed this in once before. And password foobar, and we'll sign up. Okay, so this is the main profile page, and this is what it looks like. It's really simple. It just shows them their email, their last logged in, and how long they've been a user. And then the analytics tab basically shows how many tests they've taken, their average word per minute, and their average accuracy. So obviously, as you can see, there have been no tests that have been taken. So if I were to go to, before I go to take a test, if I were to go to the leaderboard page, before it shows you any results, it wants you to take a test. So I have it set up so you have to take a test before you can look at your own results, obviously, or look at your global results. So if you click here, it'll take you to the testing page. And so as I was talking before, users can customize what media reference they want their text to be from. So hopefully I can explain this well. So this is the movie category, the music category, and the book category. So if you click movies, a little drop down comes down, and I have 4 movies, or, well, I guess one of them's not a movie, but you have 4 cinema categories. Napoleon Dynamite, Forrest Gump, Anchorman, and The Simpsons. And then if you click a different category like music, well, now you have 4 different categories. I just stuck with 4 just to make it simple, so I didn't spend too much time on these kind of features rather than the functionality of the website. And then if you click on books, obviously you have some book references. So let's say, for example, I click, Napoleon Dynamite. Well, now that item is selected. And then as soon as I click in this text box, I'll get a timer and it'll start down, and then I'll have to start to type. So I'm just going to perform a really basic test just to show you can see what it looks like to perform this test. Okay, so as you can see, I got a speed of 66 words per minute with 100% accuracy. So you can either retry or you can save score. So I'm just going to hit save score just so you can see what happens. So if you hit save score, it creates a new test score, shows you it, and then redirects you back to the test page. But let's say, for example, you get too many errors, or like you just hit enter. You obviously didn't enter anything, so it's going to say too many errors were made, and that's not calculated on blank input. That's just if it differs, if the given text and the text that you input differs by a set amount, then I'll say too many errors. But also that was a good example because I did not select a media category, so there's a default category that it pulls from. So if I try to type, so let's say I really am not doing anything well, or I'm just trying to see how fast I can type. So let's say you made a ton of mistakes typing. I made it so you can also kind of see, like this is obviously over dramatized right here, but I made it so you can kind of see at least kind of how fast you were typing at that given rate. But I didn't make it so that you could outscore because that would just not be fair. And then if you hit retry, it all resets, but not the whole page. So if you have a selected movie and then you start the typing test and then you retry, well, your movie's still selected. It doesn't reload the page, it just resets the test itself. So that brings me to, after you take a test, you obviously want to see your results. So for this user, there's only one, I've only taken one test, so this is my top scores. Normally this top score, the upper one that shows your top scores, shows your top 5, and then all your scores just shows the last 100 scores. And then you can go to your global scores, and you can see all people who have taken this test. So I've given the URL out to some of my friends to see them try it. So as you can see, one of my friends, Ash, got 127 words per minute, which is actually pretty good. She's first. And you can just see all users. And this goes up also to 100. I didn't want to show literally every test that's ever been saved, so I just made it the top 100 tests that have been taken. And pretty simple. I mean, nothing too complicated. I'd really like to expand on this in the future. I feel like if I would be able to spend more time on it, I could really make it into something that people would enjoy using. But that's pretty much it for the live demo. One more thing I'd like to show just so you can get a better example. I'll sign in with my account and then go to the leaderboards. And here you can see I've taken more than 5 tests. So here are my top 5. And then here I've only taken 6 tests total. So here are my other 6. So there's really not all that much different, but I did want to show you that at least the top score stops at 5 and what that looks like. So that brings me to lesson learned and future work. Lesson learned, I think, from this project is that Ruby is so simple that it's hard, if that makes sense. And that it tries to make things so simple that they almost become vague, or you don't really know what's going on, which I think a lot of people critique Ruby for, is that there's a lot of magic to it. But I also really liked Rails. I think Rails is very powerful, but I think there's a bit of a learning curve that is almost hard to get used to as a software engineer, because typically I feel like if you're using, like I remember last year I used Spring, and everything was so explicit, like you had to actually do everything, well not everything, but you had to do a lot more than you have to do in Rails. So I feel like when you're using Rails, it's so powerful, but if you don't know how to use it, if you don't know the tiny details that Rails is doing it without you having to do it for you, it's kind of hard to follow what's happening in your app. And also, don't start projects at the last minute. I started this project not at the last minute, but I started it maybe a week ago. But I really should have spent more time on it, but I really just didn't have time. So future work, I actually really like this app. I thought it was really fun, and I'm actually pretty proud of what I made. So in the future, I'd like to add you can follow other users, so you can have like a set list of friends or something. You can all compete with each other. I think that'd be really cool, and honestly really simple to do. And user deleting abilities. So right now, if you make an account, you can't delete it. Although, since I use Devise for this app, you can technically set that up. It's already set up for me, but I just have no way to interact with it. And future with Rails. This summer, actually, I got an internship at a small little startup They're an existing company. They're a clothing company, and they need a website. Right now, they just have a static website, and um, so they wanted an API and they wanted some way for users to be able to buy stuff online. So since I got a internship there, technically I'm the only one making the website. It's a rather small company, so I kind of get to decide what I want to use to go about doing that. So I'm debating on using Rails. I thought Rails was really fast and efficient because the my typing Typhoon, the app I made for this project, only took me about maybe 3 to 4 days of solid work, and then maybe like the other 3 days of the week that I started it, I only spent maybe like an hour a day on it, and that was mostly just designing things, not so much uh, using Rails. Um, but honestly, I'm probably going to use Rails for web app or for my internship just because I've had some experience with it. I have the tutorials that I can reference, and it's really powerful, and I really enjoyed using it. I thought it was really fun. And yeah, that's pretty much my project. Thank you.